This is the 2023 Volvo V60. It's the cross-country B5 all-wheel drive plus. And the cross-country means that it has a raised body, a little bit more ground clearance for being more capable off-road. It is an all-wheel drive model and has an off-road mode as well as hill descent control. We're going to take a look at what you can expect to receive as far as the overall features and functionality of this vehicle for a price of $54,475. For 2023, there are some changes, including a redesigned front bumper. As you can see right there, I wish I had another one sitting here to compare it to, but it's kind of hard to do that. And then we'll take a look at the rear as well. Even though, well, we basically just did. Obviously, you had the power rear door right here, or lift gate, and the rear bumper has also been redesigned. But one thing I will say is that the Google infotainment system has made its debut for this year. The Google theme, basically, it's controlled by voice, and you can get in here and talk to Google, and it's made the infotainment screen a lot easier to use than it's ever been before, because I know that was a common complaint in the comments section on a lot of my videos on these Volvo vehicles. So let's take a look at exactly what we have here. We're going to have the LED headlights, the LED daytime running lights, and the LED fog lights down here on the lower portion of the bumper. Obviously, I probably don't have to tell you that the blinker and the daytime running lights here looks like the Thor's hammer. At least that's what the design kind of mimics. And one thing I like is that while there are some changes over the years that have come on the front grille, to a great degree, it's remained the same and still has kind of that old school Volvo look, but a modern look at the same time. So depending on what you like, well, that could be a good thing, I would imagine. As far as tire and wheel size goes, we have 235 on the width, 45 will be the sidewall size, and another change for 2023, redesigned wheels. These are 19-inch wheels in the case of this particular model. And under the hood, that has a very wide opening. I like that because it makes it so easy for us to show you the 2-liter intercooled turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 247 horsepower and 258 pounds-feet of torque. Like I said earlier, this is an all-wheel drive model, and it's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It would be kind of nice to see something other than a large plastic cover covering everything up here, just so that those of us who would like to see the turbocharger a little bit better and all that kind of stuff, well, it'd be a whole lot easier. Obviously, you do have the hydraulic struts, if I can remember what they're called. Yes, that's right. I kind of goofed on that, didn't I? They're hydraulic struts to open the hood. And let's see here if I can close this correctly before we go and look at one of the most important things you're going to find here. It's going to be the MPGs. What do we have? Let's see if we can get the sun out of your face there a little bit. I apologize for the glare today, it just is what it is. But we have 23 city, 30 highway, 26 combined. And Volvo says you should use 3.8 gallons of gas per every 100 miles you drive. And a look at the remote. There are no changes here for 2023, but maybe you're new to the Volvo brand and you've never seen the remote before. As far as on the front fascia of the remote, all you're going to have is the Volvo logo. All of the controls are on the side here on both sides, but you also see that you have something that I know a lot of you like. Turn signal indicators built into these side view mirrors that are power folding side view mirrors, by the way. And there is a panoramic sunroof. We'll give you a quick look at that from the inside and let you see what's going on there. And then back here with the rear, you're going to find that you have the power lift gate. And for those who maybe struggle to open this a little bit, well, there are directions here that tell you how to do this, but it's really simple. You pretty much just swipe your foot under here and it works that easily. That is a standard feature, by the way, something that I really like. And so very easy to use, very easy to open, all that good stuff. And then we're going to have the shark fin antenna up there. That's going to be body color, as is the rear roof spoiler. We also have the roof rails up here that are going to come in brushed aluminum, and the exposed rear window wiper. As an automotive journalist, just my personal preference, I would love to see this tucked away inside of the rear roof spoiler, but you know what? I can't always have it my way, can I? And while they're smaller than what we see on the XC40, 60, and 90, you do have the similar design of the taillights back here, but it fits the size of this V60 very well. The B5 logo and the Volvo logo right back here, I should say, without getting tongue twisted, and obviously the V60 logo as well. Everything flows nice. More of that brushed aluminum back here, but you don't see the exhaust pipe. So kind of a clean look back here that's really, by Volvo's admission, really meant to say they're moving toward a zero emissions environment with their vehicles. So in case you're curious why there are no exhaust finishers or anything like that back here, well, now you know. And as far as cargo capacity goes, 18.33 cubic feet up to 31.36 cubic feet. And you might say, well, what exactly does that mean? A cubic foot is the size of a basketball. So that means that you can actually haul 18.33 basketballs or 31.36 basketballs in the rear area of your V60. And here's how you're going to obviously maximize cargo capacity. I'm just going to do that on the one side here, but there is a lot of space back here. One thing I do want to show you real quick, hopefully I can do this one-handed. Let's see if I can. Well, I couldn't do it one-handed, but this is how it actually works if you were trying to change your tire. There is a spare tire here. You might have noticed on the undercarriage shot you didn't see a spare tire. It's because it's concealed here under the floor in the rear area of the vehicle. But the good thing is that you have this little hook right here built into the floor to help keep that out of your way in case you're working by yourself and there's no one to help you hold the floor up. And I showed you the pass-through earlier. Here's a little trick if you don't want to have to reach all the way from the rear to the rear seats right here. To close that pass-through, well, just lower the rear seat back like this right here. That makes that a whole lot easier to close. And taking a look into the rear seats via the rear door on the right-hand side, we're going to have the door bin right here. And if you have door bin snobs riding in your car, well, they might want to call for the front seat because it has a larger door bin, but not a big deal necessarily. Soft touch materials for a nice armrest right here, and brushed aluminum. Not going to find any chrome within the interior, so if somebody in the car likes brushed aluminum, the owner, whoever, well, guess what? They're in luck because there is a lot of brushed aluminum. You do have the air conditioning vents back here, not on the rear of the center console, but there's one right here on the door pillars on each side. So that cleans this area up a little bit down here. That's actually good because it's closer to being at the angle where everybody really wants it flowing. It's kind of hard to get the air to flow properly this way, or in some vehicles almost this way. It'll cool things down, but it just seems to be a better design, or warm things up too. Speaking of warming things up, the outboard seats are both heated right here. As you can see, a little bit of storage area right here. And we have 2 USB ports right here. There should be 3 because there is seating for 3. And when not using that pass-through, well, this is an armrest that doubles as the cup holders as well. They're built in right here. So that's actually kind of nice because it leaves all the real estate for the armrest available for people to put their arms on back here. And then you can conceal those cup holders away when ready to. And good news for those door bin snobs in your life. Like I said, call Shotgun and they'll be happy because you have the larger door bin right here, the same soft touch materials as well, more of the brushed aluminum right there, and that works its way into the interior, which, by the way, there is a power seat for the passenger and the driver over there. Both are heated only, not ventilated, so in case anybody's curious about that, well, now you know. And then the brushed aluminum trim is going to work its way around, obviously, all over the vehicle. Even a little bit of gloss black here around the infotainment screen. And air conditioning vents, we're going to find the glove box here that never has any gloves in it, but it's called a glove box, so I'll show you what's there. Quite a bit of space in there. And then if you want to conceal things away, well, that's not too hard to do. Or obviously you can keep everything open, but just to show you what all is here, the 12-volt power outlet right there. Kind of a conventional shifter in a way, even though it looks a little bit different, but it's not all push button and everything, because I know so many people don't like that. This is the control to start and stop the engine. It's not a button, it's really more of a knob. The power parking brake is there, cup holders, and there's what you have in the way of space within the center console and a USB connection. All right, and taking a look here at the passenger side door, obviously we're going to have the same setup here for the most part of what we had on the passenger side, but you will find the controls for those power side view mirrors, all of the windows. You can lock the windows, and there is seat memory on the driver's side right here as well. So if you're wondering about that, it is here. Now I want you to listen. I just hope you can pick this up. When I start the engine, you don't actually hear the sound of a conventional starter. That's because there's a 48-volt battery in the vehicle, in the rear of the vehicle back there, where the tire is located, the spare tire that actually starts the vehicle among many other features. So here's what we're going to have as far as our updated digital instrument display for the driver. Navigation can be brought up right here. As you can see, that is a nice feature. That way the driver doesn't have to look over here to the center screen, although you do have navigation built in there as well. But it just makes such a difference. Obviously you have adaptive cruise control here, and then all of your other features to go through, well, whatever you want to go through right there. Voice commands. Here's how you're going to control the headlights, the fog lights, and the blinkers on the vehicle. I hope you're using your blinkers because, well, it not only keeps people around you safe because they know what you're doing, but it makes you look cool as well. So use your blinkers. And I don't have to tell you in any sarcastic way that you should use your front and rear window wipers. All of that is controlled right here. Now, moving on to something that I know a lot of people have been concerned with over the years. Like I said earlier in the video, the most common comments, they didn't like the infotainment screen because, well, you had to go into the screen to do things such as adjust the temperature and the fan speed and all of that, turn on the heated seats and everything. Well, now that's a thing of the past. Let's do this. I'm going to show you how this works. Hey, Google, turn the temperature to 70 degrees.
All right, changing the temperature to 70 degrees.
So you can see how that works. I should probably take that off to make it a little bit easier for you to see what's here. So you can see what all is here, and everything is really done via voice commands. It's practically endless as far as what you can ask Google to do for you, including maps, navigation, all of that. You don't even have to manually put anything in. Now, one thing I do want to show you right here, you might notice that there's no more scroll wheel down here or dial to switch through driving modes. And even though you really only have 2 driving modes, or really one to change to, which is going to be off-road, well, here's how you do it. You're going to go into that area like you just saw me do right there. It's not a big deal to do necessarily, but just so you can see what all is there and how you access different things such as pilot assist and different features like that. And what about the reverse camera, the backup camera? Well, you have multiple views here, as you can see. If you hit that area right there, there you go. You have your 360-degree overhead view. And then to go back, we're going to hit that right there. You can see how easy this is to do. Super simple, but super effective at the same time. There's the front view and obviously the rear view as well. So a very, very simple system to use. You are going to have the push button here for going into park, and obviously a very easy interior to really use, probably easier than ever for 2023 as far as the V60 is concerned. And one more thing, let's let you hear the Harman Kardon audio system in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this off of my YouTube channel so we don't get a copyright strike. Let's see if we can make that happen. Here we go. Okay, that's probably enough of that, but I just wanted to let you hear what that sounded like. Very, very strong audio system here. Sounds really good. I didn't make any adjustments to it. Maybe somebody else did, but that's how it sounded when I hopped in the car. Okay, we're going to hop out on the road for our test drive here at the V60. And I know a lot of people are immediately going to say, well, is 247 horsepower enough? You know, it's so funny when you go back, if you ever do some research, and maybe I should do a video on this subject, I don't know. But if you look back to vehicles from, say, the 1980s, a Ford F-150 with a V8 under the hood made, I think, about 150 horsepower. People are so used to 300 and 400 horsepower these days that they often think, well, 247 horsepower is probably not enough. It's plenty. It's not an issue. In fact, hopefully some V60 owners will jump into the comments and talk about their experiences in that respect. But just driving this V60 down the road to get up to speed, no problem at all. You don't have to floor it. You can ease into it. It's going to get up there just fine. It seems to have plenty of get up and go. I realize I'm the only person in the vehicle. I don't have a load of cargo in the rear or anything like that, but I'm confident that it's enough. The ride quality is good. Now, one thing I would recommend, if you are going to buy a V60 and you're somebody who lives in an area where it snows a lot, I would definitely change out those all-weather tires and go to something else that's maybe going to do a little bit better job. You probably would use snow tires or studded snow tires or something like that anyway, but especially off-roading, the all-weather tires are not really the best for that kind of thing. So depending on what you might deal with, you know, some people might say, well, that sounds kind of strange to say. Well, here's reality. There might be somebody who lives in Colorado in an area where just to get to their house, you know, there are a lot of areas in Colorado where you have to drive up a dirt road. And depending on the time of year, well, that could be more challenging than others. And even during the summer, I know people up there who you have to have a four-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive vehicle to get to the top of the driveway. Kind of an interesting thing, but just an example of why that kind of thing is so important. But the ride quality is good. It glides over the bumps nicely. It does a good job of that. And then obviously when it comes down to the overall usability of the vehicle, it does a good job as far as being able to learn. If you're somebody who's never had this kind of technology before and you're saying to yourself, man, I'm just terrified of that technology. I still have my old Volvo from 1989 or something like that. This is not that difficult to use. I know we've talked about that in the past in the video. Let me take this off the screen in case you're watching the screen down there. With Google Assistant being integrated here, it is so much easier. It's like telling your husband or your wife what to do. You know, do this for me, do that for me. It won't drive the car for you exactly. I mean, you do have Copilot, but you know, as far as getting directions and all that kind of stuff, if I needed to use navigation right now, I could use voice commands to set that up, to find out how far I am from a certain destination, how much gas I have, how much further I can drive without having to look down at the instrument cluster, whatever the case is. There's quite a bit there. It's easy to learn and easy to use. I like that. I think that was a tremendous step forward for Volvo to add Google Assistant. The handling of the vehicle itself is good, and which is probably what you would expect. It handles like, well, a crossover would, basically. So, going through a corner kind of like this right here, we're not going to get a lot of body roll. I'm not going all that terribly fast either, but even at, well, I'll accelerate out just a little bit, not even at 40 miles an hour there, but still, everything seemed to remain nice and steady. Didn't really get much body roll at all. And that's what I just did right there as far as the speed that I took that corner at coming onto this particular road is about average of what most people would do. So overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive, easy to see out of, but obviously with all of the different safety features and driving aids, you know, it really eliminates any issues of a blind spot that you would have anyway. Even if you look over your right-hand shoulder, it's still not too bad, but you set your mirrors correctly, you can use your blind spot monitoring to take care of all of those things for you. You really can't lose. It's a great car to drive. I'm honestly surprised I don't see more of these out there. This is the first one I've done in over 800 videos here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel. Let's see, one more thing here. Let's talk a little bit about responsiveness of the brakes. Yep, that seems to work well. The brake pedal seems to be very responsive in really following how much pressure I put on the pedal as far as how the brakes work themselves. Not difficult to learn, not overly aggressive, and not really soft either at the same time. A nice balance. So overall, very impressive. The one thing that I can say was not so impressive was that truck we just saw pull out in front of the traffic in the westbound lanes. I don't know if you saw that on the video or not, but I sure did. So now that you know what you get for the price of $54,475 on this 2023 Volvo V60, tell me what you think down in the comments. I'm curious to get your feedback. Tell me why you answered the way that you did. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends here at Volvo Cars of Shreveport for loaning me this 2023 V60 for the day. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that is on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.